Hi, everyone. Welcome to this session today. Today, I want to discuss more about the CIMA report for my hearing. I'll go ahead to open the report and highlight on a few things and prove that despite having given CIMA the evidence from my end, they proceeded to do what they wanted to do. I'm not bitter, but I just need to make the record straight for the sake of tomorrow. I did not appeal the outcome of the hearing simply because I believe that the system already had made a decision, which I also raised in the meetings, but it all fell on deaf ears. All right. So allow me to share and see what their findings were, right? Firstly, CIMA had two main issues against me. The first issue was the fact that, okay, they had a couple of issues with the background that I was a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Management Accounting or Accountants, right? And owner and director of the Institute of Strategy, Accountancy, and Finance. That is true, right? And the main issue was around the invoice that I owed CIMA. Indeed, I owed CIMA an invoice which is highlighted here that I owed them a little over or a little close to 15,000 pounds, right? I'm an entrepreneur and I had challenges with the business, which is normal, all right? Then, meanwhile, I received an email from this lady, Miss Ramona Rampasad, who is a CIMA official, right? All right. So the email reads, I've been trying to contact you, but I believe you have been busy due to a number of pressing issues on my side regarding the business I commit to settle. Okay, this was me, right? And I raised this on the 17th of May, 2023, right? Then I told her that I was going to call her personally to explain the situation at hand. Meanwhile, I would like to request for permission to still bring FLP students on condition that the students and I pay for the invoices, which would be billed before payment and voucher released by you, right? Now, Ramona responded, right? I'm sorry to hear this. Unfortunately, this would not be possible as your account is sitting in 300 days until you settle the account, then only will you be able to assist you. Okay. So now CIMA argues that I was not supposed to have received money from my students. And in this case, we have two students here. What CIMA does not go ahead to tell you in the report is that both these students had been initially invoiced the previous year, which was 2022, all right? And both of them had already confirmed their enrollment with this institution, right? Let's break it down. This is not a suspension of my license for the FLP with CIMA. The license later came in 2024, right, which I will share, right? The suspension, I mean, later came in 2024, but CIMA took this as an official suspension. But now, if you see this email had a contingent on it, right, that they can only allow me to enroll students upon payment or upon settlement of the invoice, right? This does not require any person to have matriculated from university. This only requires simple English. It's a contingent, right? The invoice must be settled. Was there a plan to settle the invoice? Yes. The plan had been communicated to the regional vice president. And now, based on this email as well, that it will be settled in September, right? What would have stopped me from enrolling students, since I believed that the money would be there, as much as the business had suffered challenges, but I believed the money would have been there in September, right? So what would have stopped me from even enrolling new students who would be registered in November, right? Nothing, right? So CIMA argues, why is it that I accepted payments from these two students? And therefore, because I accepted the money from these two students, I was unethical. Okay. This is a simple business issue which requires no further explanation, right? I did not see what I did wrong here. And even until today, I do not see what I did wrong. The business was a going concern, and I still wanted to operate with the business. There was just a slack in terms of cash flow, right? Some of which was caused by CIMA itself. Okay. Now, in addition to this, the regional vice president, Tarero Mutizwa, knew that I was relocating to the United States. And I had notified her that I expected funds around September, where I would expect to settle the CIMA fees that were due, as well as proceed with my students. Okay, so I do not understand why CIMA said that there was a problem here. But let's see what they said, right? You are and were at all times a registered member of the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. That's true, right? You are and were at all times the owner and director of the Institute of Strategy, Accountants, and Finance. That is true. By way of a contract dated blah, I entered with CIMA in a relationship. I owe that amount. Yes, that's true. is owing an amount uh, a crime? No. Is it unethical to owe somebody? Maybe, right? That is if you do not intend to pay. Did I make efforts towards communicating, towards raising the funds? I did, right? But what did CIMA go ahead to do? They went ahead to raise issues against such a petty case to say I had acted unethically. All right. So I have a couple of emails that I have kept, right, which are evidence of the efforts that I was putting, right? Some of which include the fact that ISAF was going through a potential acquisition towards end of the year, and it also intended to bail the situation that I had financially. So I made significant efforts to ensure that everything goes well, but CIMA went ahead to stop the process and to raise issues that were not supposed to be raised. So that was issue number one, that CIMA said that based on this, I was supposed to be expelled. Okay. Now, let's look at the second matter, right? The second matter, okay. So here's their allegation, right? By reason of the fact alleged above, either individually or collectively, you are guilty of misconduct. So what was my misconduct? The fact that I accepted money from two students that I had invoiced initially in 2022 who paid their fees based on 2022 fees, not 2023 fees, right? So the moment I realized that these students, I was not able to raise the money in September, I started making efforts towards paying these students back, right? And the report does suggest the same, that I made efforts towards paying these students back. So what is it that I did wrong? Okay. Now, the second issue was, let me look for the second issue here. So they write a bunch of nonsense, bylaw, whatever. But the matter is simple. Everything was on the clear. Now, in this report, they suggest that I did not show them evidence. Mrs. Mutizwa knew the situation. She concealed it. Mr. Alistair Campbell, who is the CIMA attorney, was given all sorts of evidence via email. He concealed it. Mr. Jose Lumo, who I communicated with initially, was given everything via email, and they all decided to conceal the details, emails and information that I had given them, so that CIMA can come up with a negative outcome towards me. All right. Um, then the second issue was around a matter of a Department of Higher Education and Training email, right? So here they just tried to come up with case law and whatnot to try and justify their decision. But those who are listening, is this really something that can be justified, right? And I challenge CIMA to release the video that the video recordings of the hearing. You would not find anything. Okay. Now the second issue was around an email that I sent to Miss Ramona Rampasad, right? Due to the fact that ISAF is now recognized as a private college in South Africa, right? This was not the terminology that was on the initial on the email. They changed it, right? But um, the issue or the email stated, due to the fact that ISAF is now recognized as a private institution, right? With a DIET file number, okay, let's say I had written it this way, right? A private college in South Africa with a DIET file number, and in the process of offering its own degree programs, I do hereby request an FLP B2U contract on all our new applicants. That there's a question mark, right? So for context, the FLP B2U contract results in an institution paying less, so you incur less costs for the same service from CIMA, right? So the argument was I misrepresented when I sent this email. Now, this email, mind you, was sent to CIMA, who are a regulator of, and they are the ones who had led me towards the field of education around, surrounding CIMA. And indeed, ISAF was licensed with QCTO. So indeed, it was a recognized institution of higher learning within South Africa, right? I do have all the documentation, right? So there was really nothing amiss here. Secondly, ISAF does have a DIET file number and was in the process of offering its own degree programs. And hence, we had received an offer from an institution called Endunamo, right? Which was willing to acquire the institution, right? But let me share some emails from the institution. Okay. All right, let me open this document. Okay. Let me open the email, right? Now, listen carefully, right? Um, they wanted to, let me open the other one, but they wanted to acquire the institution, right? And in acquiring the institution, we operated with so much transparency and never hid anything. So this is what I want to show you here. Okay, so this was in 2023, right? Um, this was in 2023, December. CIMA had already started raising issues, right? But the institution goes on to say this is the chief executive officer who was more of a friend, right? We further discussed that you will hold a non-controlling interest in the newly formed SPV, right? And I'll be responsible for all these, right? To capture some of the conversations or issues, matters we have discussed that will be key to us finalizing the acquisition, please see below. ISAF and after the holdings, there's a debt of 700,000 that would need to be considered in finalizing our deal. Right. So again, I was making an effort to ensure that CIMA and other debts that the company owed would be settled, right? But CIMA blocked this opportunity simply because they wanted to sabotage me. Now, for background as well, right? I would want you to understand that I'd already moved from South Africa to the United States for my studies. And I had no source of income in the United States, except for the funds that I was waiting for. And the only sources of income that I were in South Africa. And those who know the cost of living in the United States, you would understand that you cannot finance sustainable living in the United States from South African rands, right? No matter how much it would be, right? Except unless they are millions, right? On a monthly basis. And these were the two issues that CIMA raised. But was ISAF a registered institution with the Department of Higher Education and Training? Yes, right. And one other thing also that I did not capture from that email, which I want to capture right now, is this. All right. ISAF is a facet accredited provider. This was recently finalized around September 2023, which was true. You will share this with us. Then ISAF has secured a condition DIET license, which is true. And these were grounds to which CIMA said that I was unethical. Mind you, DIET had approached me regarding this issue and saw nothing wrong, right? My own university where I studied for my second master's degree, had also put me through a hearing and they had found nothing wrong. But CIMA thought that they could be clever, right? So that they could just tarnish my name. Then they decided to do what they did. But there's evidence which I showed them, which they decided to conceal, right? So that people may think that I did things wrongly. So that is the situation with CIMA. Okay. So thank you all. So for those who may have questions, who may want to know more about the issue, please do not hesitate to contact me as and when you wish. But this is the issue that happened with CIMA, and I would like you to know that nothing had been